Anyone can teach their dog a really solid leave it command. And it's not as hard as you think. There are three main things that you need to do to develop this solid leave it command. The first ingredient to developing a solid leave it command is using your marker words correctly and consistently. Your marker words are your correct marker. Most people say yes, some people do a click, but the word that gives the dog the information that they did the right thing. Then you use your incorrect marker. Most people say This is not a correction. This is just information for the learner that they didn't get it right. It'd be similar to if I was making a recipe and you already knew how to make it and I started to add too much of something and you said, that's gonna ruin it. It's not a correction, it's just information for the learner that they didn't get it right. And the third one that's very key is your release marker. Most people say, okay. I had a client today that said, Yahtzee. Doesn't matter, as long as you use it consistently. But a very, very high rate of communication with your dog is gonna be necessary to develop this really solid leave it command. And using markers is not comfortable for everyone, and it does not come easily to everyone, but anyone can do it. And if you're training a dog, you need to communicate on their terms. So being really good with timing your markers and using your markers consistently and fluidly as the dog acts is very, very key. When you're training leave it, you need to have control either of the object or the dog at all times. The second key, the second ingredient in our leave it recipe is consistency. The problem with leave it is if you say leave it, your dog doesn't do it and goes and takes the chicken bone or sniffs the other dog or whatever, what just happened? They got a big, huge reward for not leaving it. Well, if you reward an animal for something, they're gonna do it again. So every single time that you say leave it, your dog doesn't leave it, actually takes it, they just got rewarded for not listening to you. So in the beginning, we have to really micromanage and make sure that your dog is never successful at getting something when you said leave it. So walks are a great time to practice because you have the leash. You can make sure they comply that way, or use a long line, or I do a lot of setups where I can quickly step on the object, but you need to find a way so that the dog cannot get it. If your dog is not fully trained on leave it yet, don't say leave it if you don't have control. The third ingredient in our leave it recipe is going to be practice. Practice, 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 practice. It works best in the beginning to do setups. That's where you put something down, tell the dog to leave it, be able to get control of the object or get control of the dog again if they don't, to be sure that they don't get it. But you have to practice over and over and over again. Start out with easy things that your dog will probably leave anyway because they don't care. So you can get a whole bunch of rewardable repetitions. Then move on to things that are a little bit harder. We'll work through all of the 3Ds, duration, distance, and distraction, slowly increasing them as they leave harder and harder things from a further distance.